François-Emmanuel, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Good afternoon, Alison. It's a pleasure.
I am so excited about this conversation. You have built this amazing partnership with the Mi'kmaq community of Listuguj. Can you tell me how that came about?
Yeah, so we started that a few weeks ago. I started to buy scallops from a diver at Saint-Omer in La Baie des Chaleurs area. His name is Carl Leblanc. And then we arrived at the end of the harvest of Carl, and he told me that his neighbor, the Mi'kmaq from Listuguj, are also harvesting scallops. So he put me in touch, and since then we start to have scallops every week from them.
What attracted you to the idea of having scallops from the Mi'kmaq community to serve at your restaurant?
So it's important to understand that this is live scallops, so it's practically impossible to have it in Quebec. Sometimes we can have live scallops from the East Coast, but local scallops, I never saw this before. So I was very excited to start to work with them, and it has been a pleasure since the beginning. They are very well organized. There is a person in charge of all the communication in the community, and then they came straight to the restaurant to deliver the scallops themselves, so the quality is pristine. And yesterday I had a batch and I was just cleaning them, and they were like clapping on my spatula because they were that fresh.
Wow. Can you describe why it's hard for chefs like yourself to have access to live scallops?
Yeah, so mostly in Canada, the fishermen, they only have the right to harvest one species at a time. So for the scallops, they go drag usually the wild scallops. They are harvested by dragging the bottom of the ocean, and then they bring it back in the boat, and they clean it as soon as they have it on the boat to freeze it, because the system is meant to do quantity and not quality. So this is why it's hard. So those scallops that I get, they are farm scallops in La Baie des Chaleurs. But it's so important to have this direct communication, because if they want to sell it to a big distributor, by the time it goes to the distributor and then come to my restaurant, it will be already dead. It's important to understand that they are very fragile, so they have to keep them wrapped in paper with salty water, but water from the exact spot where they catch the scallops to have the right salinity. So a lot of details, and not many suppliers are willing to do that.
So what does it change for you to have access to live scallops? Like how much more work or not does that bring to the table?
So this is a little bit more work, because we have to open it instead of just defrost them, but the quality is amazing. The texture of the scallop, the sweetness of the scallops, and the guests, they like also to have those fresh ingredients that nobody really can have. It's the luxury of our terroir to have produced like this. So I'm very excited to work with them.
Can you describe for us, those of us who are not familiar with the process of sourcing live scallops, can you describe that sourcing from the Mi'kmaq community? How does it work?
So mostly they go with a boat, and they have the scallops in a small cage at the bottom of La Baie des Chaleurs, and they have to bring it on the boat to harvest the scallops. The scallop that we use, they are about 6 years old. So during the first years of their life, they have to bring it up a few times just to clean the cage and to make sure that there is no other species that can damage the scallops. So as soon as they have them, they keep them in cold environment, but if they put it straight on ice, it's too cold, so they die. So they really have to just have a layer of ice, then hair, then the scallops, and then on top they put those paper with salty water on it.
Wow, that is so much work.
Yeah, so much work, a lot of details, and when we have it at the restaurant, we want to make sure to use everything. So usually when we buy scallops, it's just the main muscle that is white that we really are familiar with, and it's frozen. But for when we have live scallops, there is a muscle around the scallops. In French, it's called the barde. I don't know the term in English, but it's this part is very aromatic, so we can use it for broth. We can dehydrate it and then freeze it and then fry it to have a crispiness on a dish. And we also have the roe of the scallops. This is pretty rare in Canada to have the roe of scallops, so we are using this to do sauce also.
Mm-hmm. I kind of get the feeling that scallop roe is even more prestigious than its scallop itself.
Yeah, because of the rareness. So it's pretty special to have those.
Tell us what you do with that. What do you do with the roe, the bard, and the
Yeah.
scallop? How do you prepare those?
So right now the raw, I keep them to do a kind of hollandaise sauce. With raw of lobster or scallops, you can use it pretty much just like it was egg yolks. So you just cook it with a bain-marie. We also add a little bit of yolks to make it less intense in flavor because it's very intense. And then we just emulsify it with a reduction of white wine and shallots and clarified butter.
Wow.
And
Apologies
for
for those listening who are hungry right now.
and for the scallops, the whole mussel, because it's very fresh, we like to serve it raw. So right now we are doing a ceviche made of sea buckthorn and wild oxalis. So sea buckthorn is a little berry with a beautiful orange color and a nice acidity, and the oxalis it's a leaf that we have in the wild also, and this one is a little bit acidic as well. So we put it on top, just like if we would use a zest of lime, but instead it's leaves of oxalis.
What was that feeling like, François-Emmanuel, when you received the first delivery of live, fresh scallops from the Mi'kmaq community of Listuguj? And what was it like to taste that for the first time in your restaurant?
So I think it's honestly, when I received the first batch, I really realized how special it was. Right now we're open since more than 5 years, and I've been trying to find those scallops, fresh live scallops, because I know that we have some in Quebec, but it was pretty much impossible with the suppliers that we were working with. So I really enjoyed the moment, and then they are so sweet. The flesh is so firm. The quality is just pristine, and now I think it's just the beginning of something bigger. We will start lobster season for 3 weeks. They have a license to go get lobster in the fall, and I want to work on more project, maybe sea bass. Right now there is no legislation about the sea bass, but maybe we can change things together.
Help us understand the unique challenges and maybe opportunities associated with working with the local Indigenous community for sourcing ingredients.
We feel privileged to really know their land and their community. So I feel like they have a lot to teach us, and they also really take an importance of the environment. So it has always been respectful with the resource when we were talking about it.
How do you plan then to incorporate the Mi'kmaq community's cultural heritage and traditions and know-how that you just highlighted into your menu and dining experience?
For now, that has just been the beginning of our relationships. Maybe if I have a little bit of time later in the fall or maybe next spring, I want to go there and to maybe to go with them to see how they harvest the scallops and to take the time to know more their community. And we definitely, when we do travel to learn about food and culture, we came back with ideas. So I'm not sure yet what we will do, but that will definitely be part of our experience.
What's your hope for the future? What do you hope to achieve through this partnership, both for your restaurant and for the Mi'kmaq community?
I want to continue this relationship about the seafood, maybe more ingredients. That will be very nice, but mostly the seafood, because this is the bigger challenge in Quebec to have access to nice quality of seafood. And now I think that we really have something special with this quality that they are able to get for me. So I think if we push in that direction, we can really build something bigger. My goal would be to have like all my fish and seafood coming straight from the community during season. That will be awesome. That means no more fish coming from the US East Coast and then going to Montreal and then going to the restaurant, to have a shorter window for the fish, better quality for the guest. And I think that can have a huge impact on the community if we start to work like this. We have 3 restaurants in our group, so if they are able to do more volumes, we will be more than happy to work with them in other restaurants, and then we can create a nice value for the community with this.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. And what do I wish you for the future?
To have beautiful ingredients coming from all the corners of Quebec, and to know more producer like this in every region. We are always welcoming new producers. So if anybody is hearing this and they feel that they have some ingredients that they want to share with us, we'll be more than happy to talk with them and to develop the beautiful culinary culture of Quebec.